Hi, everybody. So, this is, in my just previous message to you, I said that I would be, excuse me for moving that. Well, there we go. That I would be doing these messages to you like spiritual direction. And how I want to do this is I want to focus on one small little aspect with each of my little messages to you, because otherwise I'll get carried away and I'll end up doing a 90-minute class, and that's the last thing you need, and I have to control myself. So I thought I would begin by kind of setting a tone here about where I want to go and what I think is important and why and etc. And even that I have to watch myself. So when I made notes for this, I thought where I want to go is about exploring the power of the soul and getting you excited about that, which is not a simple thing to do. It's not. So the first thing, this has got nothing to do with religion. Nothing. Let's have that disclaimer right on the table. It has to do with what I believe, that this is the era of the soul, meaning the era of discovering the deeply sacred power of human consciousness, beyond the power of the mind, which is much more what the mystical skills are of. Why do you think we're so drawn to healing and we're drawn to the mystical skills, to our mystical nature, to our intuitive abilities, we're drawn, like we're compelled to go toward our mystical resources. These are the soul skills, but included in that is the way your soul reasons, the way your soul perceives what your mind would call a problem, what your life would call a problem. Think about your physical life as your horizontal life, but your soul is vertical. It sees 360, whereas your physical senses just see what's in front of them. And so they have this limited capacity to reason with the immediate, and your soul has a 360-degree view. These are two different realities, two very different realities. So how do you access that inner reality? How do you do that? You have to have a different template, a very different view, and of what the soul is and what you are. And I think, and you have to be willing to reflect deeply on different questions. Questions are the way we're going to access and build bridges between the horizontal world and the vertical realm of your sacred nature. And I think one way I can maybe explain this to you is what makes Scripture sacred. And different from any other book you're ever going to read. What makes any sacred literature, whether you're reading the Old Testament, the New Testament, the Bhagavad Gita, the Quran, what makes sacred literature sacred? A category unto itself. Because it's both horizontal, but it's also vertical. Sacred literature is a masterpiece of inspired writing that has the capacity to channel grace and reveal to the reader deeper messages that reading something like Moby Dick or Great Expectations is not going to do. What makes sacred scripture sacred is that it reveals something. It speaks to you. And so talking to someone who's listening to that and thinking, right, but how does that happen? Which is a fair question. But I want you to think of yourself as sacred scripture, as a sacred scripture, as a sacred text, and that your physical life is the text part, and then you have the sacred part. So let's say we're just meeting for the first time, and I say, where are you from? And you say, where I'm from, because you ask me, where am I from? Because that's how people talk. And we start asking questions about each other's text, the text of our lives, the horizontal story. Not unlike the story of, well, where did Moses go? Where did Abraham go? Where did Mary and Jesus go? Where did Abraham go? Where did Muhammad go? It's the text. So I say, well, I was born in Chicago, and you tell me you were born in wherever. And that's the text of our lives. So it's a fact, but there's no sacredness to that. It's just a fact. And then I can throw in other facts. Well, I went here to school, and I did that, and I did that. And you could tell me you did this and you did that. And these are just texts, but I don't know you enough, and you don't know me enough to put the sacred part of our lives in. Meaning, I'm not about to reveal anything behind the facts, how I felt about my life in Chicago, any of the things that might have happened there, what it meant to me, what were the reasons why I did what I did? Why did I move to New Hampshire? What happened there? What inspired? What happened? What activated my skill as a medical intuitive? How did I feel about that? What happened in the lonely hours of the year I spent by myself doing readings? I don't know you enough to reveal the sacred journey. I can just tell you, yeah, I was in New Hampshire, 82 to 92. It's a fact. It's in the text of my life, but it's not the sacred story. That you have to earn. You have to earn that level of revelation. And the same thing is true in sacred scripture. You have to earn revelation. And it's the difference between your eyes reading sacred scripture and your soul reading it. And in that same way, it's the difference between your soul understanding a situation and your eyes seeing, or your mind seeing it. Your mind's baffled by something, but how does your soul see it? It's the difference between you recognizing the soul of somebody and getting the nuances of why they do what they do, because you've been involved in revelations with them, and someone else who's just looking at the text of their lives, maybe at their behavior. But you have deeper insights because you have a very different relationship with them. But you had to earn that. And so you have established a level of trust and faith and maybe even love. And so those levels of perception and that invisible current is a current, and it forms the bridge into the soul of another person, and likewise into the soul of the scripture. And when you have this sense of trust in your own soul, that it in fact is a deeply powerful part of yourself. Then when your soul reads something sacred and retrieves a message from it and brings it back to you, called inspiration, you take it seriously. You take it seriously. It's not just words. And you think, I understand this at a level that is much greater than just what these words say. They now mean something to me. They're filling me in a way. They're healing me. They're talking to me in a way that they never did before. That's when you know the sacred part of you is participating in something that perhaps it was not there before. But you have to pursue that part of you. You have to decide, I want to activate that inner part of me. And how do you do that? How do you do that? The way my counsel to you and how I'm going to approach this in our little spiritual direction sessions is by giving you a question to focus on. It's to give you a question each time I do these little messages to you. And the question I'm going to give you is a way of thinking about moving ever toward helping you to open up your inner nature and develop a trust in your spiritual instincts, in your sacred instincts. And my second reason, in keeping with this, why I want to do this, is because in a time of chaos, in a time of transition, whether you're looking at something happening in your personal life, but now it's collective chaos, our initial instincts are always to look backwards for instruction as to how to go forward. I've seen it 1,000 million times in my years and years of working with people. Illness makes a person's life fall apart. Divorce makes it. Crisis makes it. And someone will always look backwards for instructions on how to go forwards, not getting at all that you're in crisis because your history has ceased to be functional. There's nothing back there. And what we are experiencing is the end of everything back there. Everything. We are never going back. There is no back. And that's what's making it partly dysfunctional for this country, for the United States, is we simply can't get that. We want to keep going back to the great abundant years, to whatever, to another time that we shouldn't go back to. We just can't get it through our heads that maybe we aren't going to be the wealthiest country anymore. Maybe we're going to have to cooperate with other nations in a more humble way. Maybe the end of the great last century has really happened, and we need to walk more humbly on this earth with other nations. This planet does not belong to the United States of America. We have to stop with that story. It's come to an end. And we can't get that. So we still think we can just maybe wear a mask, maybe not. We don't have to care for each other. We just have to get it through our heads that we do have to care for each other. That one of the great laws is what is in one is in the whole. What we do to one, we do to everybody. It's time we start living the laws of, not the laws of a political system, it's the laws of healing. It's as simple as that. It is a higher calling. And that's all there's to it. It's got nothing to do with politics. Nothing. This is about the way it is. That's it. And so the first question, my first question to each of you as you think about the shift is, what is your understanding of God? And you have to reflect on this deeply, because that is part of this great time of revelation. In the old world that is going away, the mythology is that there's an off-planet God that sweeps down and makes everything better. That's enough. I'll solve your problems. You pray to that off-planet God and it comes down and it makes everything better. And that does not exist. It was a functioning way when we had a parent-child archetype, which is evaporating. You cannot have co-creation and a parent-child mythology. They X each other out. They X each other out. If you get that we are now living co-creation, then you have to ponder, then what is the nature of the divine? It is a co-creative nature, which makes every choice you make an exquisite act of co-creation. Every choice, your choice to see another person, to judge another person, how you decide to respond to the crises you're in. Call it a crisis or call it an opportunity. How you decide to say, grant me grace, get me through this, help me think my way through this, give me some inspiration. But you keep your eye on co-creation. You cannot say, solve this problem for me, do something here, I'm going to passive my way out of it. Those days are over. Now it's a matter of get me guidance, drop in some guidance, make it, don't let me miss it. Give me the courage, and I'll take it from there. So my first question to you to ponder deeply is, what is my understanding? What is my understanding, my personal? What's my script, my narrative that not just the one I tell myself, but the one what's my go-to narrative when I'm in trouble? What is it? And am I willing to really explore a much more maybe truthful, sacred, really explore the nature of the sacred instead of the story I want to believe? Okay. And with that, I leave you, but always, always with a prayer, always with the power of grace in God, always, so that you just close your eyes, no matter what it is you believe. You are breathing with God. You're breathing with the divine. This is all the divine territory. There's no such thing as God there and nothing here. You are always breathing with God. So just say, you gotta help me out here, and I don't care how you reach me. Just be with me. Just be with me. There you go. That's a great prayer. Just hover over me, be with me, and there it is. Okay, thank you.